So as we tap into the the Lunar New Year, I just learned that it's from late January to mid-February, I think. And the Lunar New Year is a Chinese festival practice in their culture where for 15 days they pretty much celebrate um, the they celebrate the new year in their culture. So, and I noticed that for the past few weeks, there's been some interesting energy when I go outside, especially the moon is out. It's been out for like the past week and a half. Um, and I've felt this deep cleanse where my energy is just being like um kind of purged through, so to speak. Uh, I've been sleeping a lot better as well. Um, so when what I'm trying to do here is I'm gonna tie this into um, the Lunar New Year to spirituality in a sense because I know on the calendar New Year in Western culture is January 1st, right? December 31st, January 1st. That's the New Year. But in other cultures, they have their own New Year's. And right now, at this point in time on the calendar, like I said, it's the Lunar New Year. So I think that if you're feeling these interesting energies lately, and like you're either having trouble sleeping, or and you're getting a lot done because you're not sleeping, or you're sleeping a lot better. So when you wake up refreshed and you're able to um, be more productive because you've just been sleeping really, really good. Um, I think that all, those are the two categories that I can relate to. Or maybe you just you feel no change at all, and but if you're if you have been feeling a shift in energies a little bit, then it's no doubt tied to the solar, the solar system and what's going on up there right now. Um, what I think is most beneficial for me personally, that for this Lunar New Year is that not only have I been studying the stars more, I've been looking at constellations, but I've been inspired to now I'm going to start looking at moon patterns. I'm not going to go out of my way and um, you know, take time out of my day to study the moon, but whenever I take go for night walks, and whenever I do see that moon out there, I'm gonna take note of it and see if I can recognize a pattern. Um, but I thought that was really interesting because last night the moon was a half moon, or it was like just below. It was like a crescent, but almost a half moon. I think that was what it was, and it was bright. It was so bright. I had to look up. I thought there was like a helicopter up there or something with a spotlight or something. That's how bright it was. And then around the moon, the stars, they were very, very bright. And where I live, you can see Jupiter and Saturn. Um, I don't know which one, but one of those planets is really bright. And when the sky is clear, when there's no smog and stuff. And but last night it was just the stars in general were super bright. They were extremely bright. I could see crystal clear. So, and you only get that when you go into the country, or when you're out of the city because of all the pollution. I remember when I was 10, 11 years old, my family took a trip to in Washington. We went to Orcas Island. And we took a ferry out there to like that whole area, Friday Harbor, Orcas Island, Shaw Island. And uh, when you go outside and look up at night, though it's like just the sky is completely covered with stars. If there's no space in between those stars, or when you go into the city, or like right now where I live, on a typical night, you just look up and you just see one star, and then a space away you see another, and a few little clusters here, and then one there. But if you when you leave the pollution, that's when you begin to see what really you know what I mean. Um, so I thought that was really cool. But uh, what I want to do is I invite you to, um, because the Lunar celebration is pretty much, almost over. Yeah, I want to invite you to, I want to invite you to, if you feel that energy that I spoke of, this maybe restlessness, but also like a reset, like a calmness, I invite you to just sit back and enjoy it, and don't think that, something's wrong with your body or your homeostasis or anything. It's not that. It's that your brain, not only your brain, but your being, your whole vibration in your body is responding to what is going on up there in the universe, in the sky up there, because we're all connected. Similar to like the tide pulls in and out from the moon in the ocean. Same thing, like that all that stuff's connected. So we're all connected down here, and uh, so I just wanted to share. Um, Someone texted me and said it may have been a satellite. If it was super bright, it may have been a satellite reflecting the sun somewhere, and then I could see it really bright. But I don't think it was moving, so that's why I'm saying I was pretty sure it was Saturn, or just a really bright star, that was out. But when you're you probably hear the term before. People say they're tapped in. And I'm not talking about the urban slang where, like, that kind of tapped in. I'm talking about the tapped in spiritually and to um things that like the Akashic records, and you're tapped into, you kind of live this esoteric lifestyle in this modern world, which is really hard to do. Um, well, I guess it's not hard, but well, it is difficult. But you just gotta your mindset will be completely pulled in different directions. And when you're if you're like me and you feel these things, you walk into a room and you feel people's energy. You can pretty much discern what kind of person they are, but you know that if you're intimidating to people, so you kind of have to play dumb and kind of like blend in a little bit. But for me personally, I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but for me personally, I get social anxiety all the time. So even when I do want to blend in, I really have to work and like put in the work to actually, you know, be outgoing, and because if not, here's what's gonna happen. People are just gonna, like, I call this spiritual attacks, because these people, they really don't mean what they say. When people Okay, so when this happens and people start talking to you, okay, they're gonna say, "Are you all right? You doing okay today?" They don't really care how you're doing. They're just asking you that because they begin to feel uncomfortable because you are just so vibration. Like you're just being you. You're authentic, and people, they can sense that when you're being real and if you're being fake. That's why everyone out here is fake. In general, in society, everybody's fake because they know that if they're real, someone's going to sense they're real and they will be immediately rejected in some way, whether it's, you know, people talking about them, people looking at them funny, people like, their reputation's ruined if they're at work, or if, they're in a relationship, they want to, look the best at all times. Or it's just that, like, because being real in today's society, being real is being vulnerable, which is being weak, and being fake is considered the normal, which is considered cool and strong or whatever. So when you're out there, and like I was mentioning, if I'm out there, for example, and I feel I want to open up, but I have difficulty doing that, so I just kind of just keep to myself, and ramble through life, go here, go there, or go on with my day is what I'm trying to say. And people are like, someone tries to talk to me, and I can tell, like, oh, this person's like, okay, I can read their spirit because I can feel their energy when I was standing and I was waiting there. And that person starts talking to me, And I just try to like, okay, be outgoing, but at the same time is I don't want to walk. I don't want to have the spirit. I don't want to invite the spirit in to my essence. So when people sense that you're, or if someone like me, when it's maybe it's just me, like only happens to me, but when people sense that I'm very like maybe standoffish, but I do give them acknowledgement. I do say, "How's it going? How's your day going?" But for some reason, that's not good enough for people. So the second that I kind of pull back, and because that's who I am, I'm being real. I just pull back and kind of just like keep to myself, And people, it's just like that makes them uncomfortable. So then the spiritual attacks start happening. Maybe it happens to you as well. If you struggle socially, or you don't struggle socially but you just like to protect your energy, or whatever the case may be, and then people start kind of chipping away at you at that point, because you're not being fake, your behavior isn't like everyone else, and that threatens them, because the person before you was acting one way and the person after them was being the same way, and then you show up and they get uncomfortable, and then it's just like, that's why if you are if you are a um, this word is widely thrown around, but if you're a chosen one, or you have a very supernatural essence about you, you live an esoteric lifestyle, you're tapped in, like I spoke of. If you're that kind of person, if you're just cut from a different cloth from other people, for example, um, you need to just keep to yourself, because if you're outgoing but you're kind of like curt and rude or mean, bad situations can happen, because a lot of people out here don't use their brains, and you may bear the brunt of that. But if you're too outgoing, people immediately start to kind of like energy siphon you. So then you pull back and they think something's up, and then they get all up in your case. So it's like you can't win. If you're like me, you can't win either way, either direction. Doesn't matter who you're talking to, if it's another man, a woman, a boy, a girl, an older man, an older, elderly. It doesn't matter. The person at the, out on in the at the store, or someone just you're just walking by. Most people, they just keep to themselves and they walk by, like if you're in a park. But I'm talking more about in places where it's just you enter the room and you instantly can tell, like, all right, yeah, this is not a peaceful place in here, even though it looks normal. But that's what I mean. If you're like me, I can read spirits. So if you can too, you'll know what I mean. So I hope this video helped you tonight on Thursday, February 26th, and enjoy the Lunar New Year, and just keep that energy. Just try and um, manage it pretty well, and don't freak out if you're not sleeping, or if you're sleeping too much this few days, few weeks. It's part of the solar, just the solar system, and the supernatural, the solar flash, and how your energy is being tied into up there, and um but anyway, hope this helped you.